Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to NACE Starleague Overwatch. I didn't even introduce ourselves because I was so amped up on that gummy shot energy. My mistakes. Apologies. LaFon, of course, who is joining us on the desk, and me, I'm Los. Welcome, everybody, to NACE Starleague. We got our 2 conference play-in matches tonight. How are you feeling about these very important matches to decide the fate of who will move on or who will end their season right here, LaFon?
Well, I mean, that's exactly what I'm looking forward to, right? This time of the year is always pretty special because you have to win, right? There are no more excuses. There are no more second chances. Lose and you're out. Win, you move on to stay alive for another day. So, Los, we do have a lot of action underway here today. We got to start off, of course, with our first match as we get a look at our second and third seed here in game number 1 between, Lourdes University and University of Kansas, I think here it says. So, yeah, we are good to go.
As we figure out who is going to make it through the Midwest play-in. This is going to be a very exciting matchup. And to start it all off, we gotta go to the place that we call home here in NACE Starleague. Obviously, we're kicking this series off going to Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I mean, as you saw in the opening shot, I was already on Lijiang Tower because at this point, I may as well just go there before we even know where the teams are, chosen where they've headed to. So that's a little fun fact we got going on here. Again, I called out the players, I called out the teams and said, what if we didn't go to Lijiang Tower for map number 1? And so far, only 2 teams have agreed to not go there. But Lijiang Tower it is. This first map is so critical. If you can get, in your best of 5, you can get that first map off early, then you're in a good position to continue the rest of the series. And with how practiced teams are on this map, there really is no more excuses.
Of course, and the fact that we are in the late stage of this entire league, that there are going to be no, mistakes, but there won't be any low-level play. This is all the best of the best that each conference has to offer. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how these squads are going to represent their conferences as we start with an absolute brawl right here in the top center. And we're trying to have some aggression coming out from Lourdes University, and Shinsei and Mango start this action and get it popping as they are just causing absolute havoc in this center. The Immortality field goes down, and so do a lot of other players as Lourdes University is currently having some control of the objective.
Incredible aggressive showing there, Los, right? They don't wait at all for, their opponent to walk back in, and that's going to be the first fight hold. A very aggressive start, and that's going to be the Riptire is going to be online, as to the Amplification Matrix in just a moment. It's going to be this first fight off the back of CJ. If you can get this out early, then it'll be a big difference maker.
And here they come in, trying to come back. It's going to be a big accretion over into the shield, but it won't be enough as we have Shinsei coming in through the flank and taking out multiple players with serious damage, and they will just continue to be pushed back, not having too much potential getting onto the objective.
Vanilla fight win. Love to see it. Okay. They're not... This really shouldn't be any efficiency. It's going to get a little bit of ult charge for Lourdes University, but ultimately just more of a delay tactic than anything else, and they don't even really get up to those impact ultimates immediately. However, the Riptire in close is going to be something to keep an eye out here. I don't think they've blocked this at all.
No! Oh my god, with a huge 4-piece right there, along with another one over onto the Sigma. That was a massive play coming out from Shinsei.
So not only did they not clock it at all, by the time they noticed, they were already all eliminated. So that's going to be a reset, and keeping an eye out here on Magic. You have to pay attention to your flank right now. You have to.
No way with the Earth Shatter. It's going to come through and leave everyone on there behind, as Magic with the massive Earth Shatter just makes it even more difficult for Kansas to try and push through.
All right, once, shame on me. Twice, shame on you. 3 times, something has to change here.
This is not looking good. A teleport to get behind again, using the Graphitic Flux to put them out of position, but it's going to be a return of fire with the Earth Shatter. They may have gotten a little too bold onto this fight.
Yeah, that one also is not aided by the fact that Magic decides to literally charge off the map with no one else. And so becomes... They do get there. They do get there. They're going to get there. But why? Did you sound barrier? They're committing to this fight when they're already up members? I mean, they're going to get the point as well, they should, but that is way more expensive than it had any right to be.
That was a little bit of an overcommitment of the ultimates there, a little bit of, I wouldn't go as far as to say a waste, but not too necessary to secure that, but they will continue to just send out some spam to stop anyone from coming through, but we will see if that continues, as there's going to be an upper hand advantage. He's going to use the Rip Tire. It doesn't make any connection, however, will be Fuwa who's starting the action, using the Photon Barrier as well as their turrets to keep some damage at bay. Gravitic Flux coming out from Lao does manage to take one down, but Biz is doing some serious business with that beam. It is so strong right now, and it's going to rip apart anybody who dares enter this objective.
That was uncontested. The Symmetra gets up to max energy, max charge, and is able to clear out the objective no matter the cost. Trading 1-for-1, you only need an extra initial, play in or elimination on your side if you're Lourdes University, and they make it look easy, in all honesty, on that first round. And this is a good start for them, coming into this match. This is where we have to start, again, towards the end of the regular season, we talked about teams being, at the most practice they're going to be, right? You don't have any more time to get better. So here in this particular play-in scenario, when you lose and you're out, this is it. You have to already be the best team that you're possibly capable of being. And Lourdes is coming out and saying, look, this is what we are. We are aggressive, we are efficient, and we are not going to play scared as they take round number 1.
Throughout the season, you may be able to get a feel of... Hold on, I'll hold that thought for now, because we have Magic jumping right into the enemies and taking that on full force. We do have a Sombra now at this point. Let's see what Ben Rules. Oh man, that's a hard name. Does get the hack over onto the enemy Winston, and that will leave them vulnerable for now, but Sombra isn't going to be able to deal too much damage, have too much of an impact right now, as it's a pretty even fight. No one's being taken out. No one has a serious advantage, except it might be Biz, the first one to take out an enemy, along with Shinsei. They are dealing some damage on those tanks onto the point. There will be no room for them to try and contest at this point. Biz continuing to lay down the business.
This composition that Lourdes University is running is all damage all the time, right? This is Tracer and Reaper are both the high damage characters, and playing them together means you have no respite. University of Kansas needs to play off a hack. They need this hack to find value. Otherwise, they simply have a weaker composition. They're going to, aggress with the coalescence here are Lourdes and Primal Rage into the spawn of University of Kansas.
No places off limits for Lourdes University at this point. They will be aggressive no matter where. They will take the fight to your spawn, and that is showing that they don't even need a fight to contest. They can test you anywhere.
Yeah, the other thing too is that they're not getting... Lourdes University is not really getting that much efficiency out of their resources. CJ uses the ultimate in spawn, but without anyone online. And here, I mean, you can see already down, the Primal Rage are getting value for Swirl Hog.
Or at least it was, after they're falling right off the map, utilizing that do knock some players around, and I don't think they knocked anyone else off but themselves. Now, Ella is getting knocked out of the Diva Mech and is just going to be bullied at this point until they're able to SD.
Yep, that is going to have to be the reset there. Very efficient now at this, that being said, it's still an expensive fight for our squad in blue, as they have nothing online, not even the sound barrier. So Benkra Rules could find value with this EMP, and well, they have to, because this is a fight that they need to win, right? This is the last fight territory, and that pickoff just heralds the fact that the end of the map is now one fight away for Lourdes University.
Staggers are there, and now we're having Magic jump in once again, but this time Biz won't be able to have too much of an effect, as they're the first one to fall in this final fight. Buwa finding another, and we'll be able to Shadow Step and potentially use that Death Blossom to their advantage if it gets to. The defense matrix isn't going to be there to defend it, but they won't even try and commit it now. Here comes the sound barrier to add this fight to a little while longer. They will make that contest, but at this point it's going to get all the way up to 99, so this will have to be 0 to 100 for the squad if they can get it, but Shinsei is doing work, taking out Fuwa. We have another Primal Rage out from Magic, and the BM is there.
Oh, that is just on point there. Even as the members go down, just saying that my team is going to take care of it. That's going to be the hold. That's going to be the closeout, and that is a very dominant map number 1 here in our play-in best of 5. 2 more maps to go. to win the series for Lourdes University here, as University of Kansas definitely have their work cut out for them in map number 2.
I'm assuming this is going to be that 4K with the Riptire. This is tough to watch, and that compiled onto so many more cheeky plays where it was just somebody behind, somebody in a corner that they didn't check, and it led to ultimately their downfall in that first round.
Yeah, that, I mean, in that particular instance, Melissa, the fact that not only do they do it one fight, but two, and then even attempt a third fight in a row shows that they're brimming with confidence, right? There's no element of, element of passivity here on this squad, and that's going to spell, I think, a real problem for University of Kansas in the future part of the series, because how do you, it's one thing when aggression is tempered and sometimes pays off and sometimes doesn't, right? Then at least you know that there's a way to kind of cancel out some of the actions that are happening on the map when they're that effective that much. And on top of that, the fight that Lourdes lost in that one was when they literally got rid of multiple of their players due to an over-aggressive look without getting any trades. Then you have to start to consider that this series is much further out of your grasp than you first thought. And so it's going to take a lot of mental effort here, a lot of mental resilience for University of Kansas in map number 2 as they attempt to try and equalize this series. Here's where I know what the strength, it's pretty obvious what the strength of Lourdes University is. They showcased that in map number 1. We haven't really seen what University of Kansas can claim as their strength. So that's what this map is really going to be all about. Mirroring out, Lourdes University and saying, this is our play style. How are you going to react to it? And especially with them starting off on the offense here, this is a great opportunity to showcase that here to us on the stream.
We have some nice long-range plays, and mere DPS comp is going to be both the Echo as well as Hanzo to try and get that damage in. Really going to be critical to have those long-range shots. If they could get an opening pick onto either side, could be huge and crucial for an attack or defense.
The difference, of course, being the tank lineup, at least initially. More static here from University of Kansas, whereas the Lourdes University squad elected, again, to play that fast play style. One thing to highlight, of course, is that University of Kansas, Ben Crow Rules is going to have the pocket, right? They're going to have the Mercy on their side, whereas Biz is out on an island alone. Again, no real direct healing either, because there's no Zenyatta. So this is going to be a lot more difficult to play aggressively for Biz. So you should really think that the advantage goes to the red Echo.
Majink doing what Majink does and getting in the face of their enemy, but Ben Crow Rules will take out their counterpart and does give them an opportunity to put some more pressure on the monkey as they will force them back. It allows University of Kansas to make their move over onto the objective, and it forces the defenders in a precarious position as they will be split, but Majink will rejoin the rest of their squad after taking quite a bit of damage.
Speaking of a bit of damage, that's an early amplification matrix there from Yansox as the Baptiste comes in, and this time it's actually Ben Crow Rules who gets taken out in the mirror.
Yeah, a huge amount of damage coming from Biz flying through the sky, and always we're going to see this primal rage coming out of Majink. This player brings that ultimate out so many times.
That is a really, really strong, reset from Lourdes University. They recognize that the amplification matrix is there and choose not to give a full fight. Wait for their fighting force to return on the respawn, and then go back in as a 6-player stack to get the retake going. At this time, of course, Biz coming up the advantage in that fight of the Echoes, and off the back of that, they snowball that into a hold. As CJ again, an early coalescence. It's gonna get one. It's into the spawn essentially here of University of Kansas.
No way that Biz actually got the second one onto Ben Crow Rules. Oh man, the aggression from the squad. Like, I keep mentioning it, I keep talking about it, but that's what it is. It's so much damage and so much pressure, you can't even leave your spawn at this point.
They do get 2 eliminations here. Well, the D-Mech and then eliminating Hawk Waffle. Unfortunately, one of those is a very fast-moving character, and one of those generates the mech really quickly. So both of those will likely be undone. In fact, already undone, as Mango is already up to the mech here. And yet again, another aggressive hold, as it looks like they're going shopping in the gift shop here in Blizzard World.
Hopefully they pick me up a nice souvenir mug, but it looks like Mango is going to pick up a few eliminations as they bubble onto the Diva Bomb, and it picks up 2, takes out the Immortality Field, and Blizz has the perfect move and opportunity to push up and take out Awas, or a Wasp.
Cool guys don't look at explosions, I think is the saying, as Biz gets the sticky bombs down and then turns away, as they had already confirmed the elimination onto the Mercy. Confidence there from the Echo player on Lourdes University. And I mean, here's the problem. University of Kansas, yes, they have all these resources, but you need to get in through the start to get it. It's a good opening, picked down. I shouldn't say it's taken out by their mirror.
Might be able to find a second one as CJ was grossly hit with a good amount of arrows, but now Biz sending multiple players flying through the sky with the Gravitic Flux, and Bencro Rules is looking to double up and use that self-destruction. It doesn't find anything. It's no good as Biz continues to rain terror, but getting hit with the accretion will put them and stop them in their tracks and allow them to be taken down, as this may be the opportunity University of Kansas was looking for.
They are going to at least get a second tick here. 30 seconds left on the clock, and I don't believe there's a true full recontest. The Dragon Strike is committed. They're going in early, our Lourdes University here at Lowe's.
Well, no Storm, or just Storm Arrows, and no Dragon Strike just yet, but it doesn't seem that they will need it. Mango diving to the back line, hoping to take out the Mercy, doesn't seem to be able to do so, and this will still be a bit of a fight out here for University of Kansas, as Lourdes University is not giving it up, not yet, not right now. The contest is still here as Biz removes the Mercy, looks to help out and take out the opposing Echo, and is still putting on serious pressure over with the Sigma. Sigma will fall. Ella is going down, and one player is still fighting for their lives. It's gonna be Denizen, who's playing on the ball to try and extend this fight, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They're going down. The overtime bar is following them, and that will be it.
Disaster strikes there for University of Kansas in the name of Hawk Waffle, as they just run it down on the DPS and takes the duel. And you would normally favor, the team with more players alive, but that first elimination onto, the main tank just loses the suppression, or loses the sustained potential on the objective, and then it's a panicked, cycle through resources as Lourdes University brings their respawns back. And just calm under pressure here, our squad in blue, as they complete the hold. And it looked like University of Kansas were about to take the objective. In fact, it went up to that 99%, more 97% marker, and nearly ticked over, into that second objective line. But University of Kansas now have the position where, instead of continuing the map, instead of fighting for second, they're going to have to now head to the defense and prevent, just the first objective from being captured here, as, going down 2-0 in swift fashion would be disastrous for them at this point.
We've seen Lourdes University be incredibly aggressive while they're defending, and now it's time to see how they do it as their sole objective here, and it's only going to take 1 point. Almost 3 ticks, and we're heading into a map 3, and I'm going to wager that this will be another map out here for Lourdes University.
It's time for magic. It's time to see what you are capable of under pressure, University of Kansas, because you know that Lourdes University is going to bring it. Doomfist out here from Biz. Okay.
Are we going to have a pact? Oh, press. No, what?
This is either supreme confidence or supreme foolishness, and we'll see which one.
Trolled.
We'll see at the end of the map which it is.
We're being trolled, LaFon.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll see what happens again if Lourdes University, if there ends up being an overtime push and they're not able to get it, then that will cost them. But in the moment, here comes the dive.
Endcrow taking massive damage. The Immortality Field already out. Biz coming from a flank, finds one and sends another one flying. Mango diving down onto the healers, and it's just a Brigitte left to try and heal the rest of this squad. Nutrition goes out. It doesn't land onto anybody, and Endcrow does manage to find one on the enemy. However, they're not doing enough to trade out the damage being brought out by Shinsei. Another one falls. However, Biz and Shinsei are doing serious work, clearing the point, and now this will at least be the first tick, unless that Tracer has anything to say about it. Fuwa tried to stall it out and will be supported by Nyan Sox. This is still going on here for University of Kansas.
But it is not much more than a stall at this point. really just a last-ditch effort as it's slowly going over to Lourdes University here. In fact, they're not getting any eliminations. Ella is going to be taken out here in just a moment as well. And the Dragon's Blade, as well as the Meteor Strike, will herald the end of map number 2 here.
There's the remake as well, but
yeah.
I mean,
as that's going to be the 2-0. So it turns out that the answer to our question was it is Supreme Confidence indeed, and it ends with a 2-0 scoreline here at the end of 2 for Lourdes University. As now, University of Kansas are in the position where if they want to keep their hopes alive, have to take the reverse sweep in full fashion, as they've been fully shut out and are down 2-0 here at the end of map number 2.
well, you know, it's not impossible because they've proven that they deserve to be in this series throughout the season. You know, they have earned their spot in the top 3. They deserve to have a fighting chance at this point. So it stands to reason that this could very well be a reverse sweep. However, we aren't getting too much evidence out from University of Kansas. They have had some flashes of magic, a good amount of capabilities taking out Lourdes University, but they can't sustain that momentum and that energy.
I think this speaks really highly of Lourdes University's ability to focus, in all honesty. Because again, these retakes have been intelligent. They've been, recognizing what the win conditions of their opponent are, and then not giving them the opportunity to kind of execute on them. I think the critical point in that sort of statement is the amplification matrix. Good lord, that Neon Sox used incredibly early in the match. On the first attack run. Magic actually just hides from it. You don't need to focus it down. Give them, the space to take just a tick, maybe a tick or two, and then come back in before they fully take the map, the objective point over. And that's what, sort of cemented that first hold for Lourdes University. And I think that's really where this team stands out to me.
So it's about knowing when to pick your battles and knowing how to make the enemy have a little bit of confidence, but know that you fully have the situation under control. And it seemed like control is really what they've got, especially with how willing they are to dive deep into the enemy territory, as well as, just how confident Majink is with those primal rages, just diving into the enemies, always having some damage, always having the support of their squad, which I do believe is a great deal of effort coming out from the healers, because you always see them in the front line and you never see them, or rarely see them, get eliminated.
Yeah, it's definitely riding sort of on the edge of disaster, but as long as you don't go over it, then you're going to get a lot of value in that sense. Now, we do have to talk about map number 3, which will be Junkertown, as Lourdes again heads to the defense here, so they'll continue to be the team in blue. And University of Kansas, this first run, it has to be good, right? You do not want to be in a position where you're forced to full hold on what could very well be the last map, especially with how well Lourdes is playing, right? They have come in and said, they want that berth in the sort of conference finals here in our division in the Midwest as we get set to get underway here in map number 3.
I'm really enjoying the versatility of heroes that we're seeing from the damage players. We've seen a Echo, a Sombra, a Genji, a Doomfist, a Echo as well. Just so many different playstyles and versatility coming out from those damage dealers, and they're always finding value on the side of Lourdes. And I'm hoping to see that potentially we'll have some more sniping action as we usually do here on Junkertown. And is their hero pool that deep? Are we going to see a Widow out of these players? I'm excited to see.
That is, the Junkertown always sort of trends towards that long-range playstyle, right? Whether the Hanzo, the Echo, the Widow, even Ashe in some regards. But that will be for the players to decide. For Lourdes University, we're seeing sort of what they're posturing on early. They found the dive can get so much value, right? When you see how aggressively you play off the back of the Winston. And I think that's something that really has thrown University of Kansas for a bit of a loop. They haven't really found that engaged timing they were looking for. Although I will say this bunker composition, this pirate ship of sorts, could put a lot of damage to that front line for the first time this series.
That's exactly what they need when you have Majink jumping in your face, But that face is jumping into the barrel of a minigun. It might not work out so well for Lourdes, or as well as they would initially imagine. But let's find out and put these theories to the test as we enter into map 3 of potentially series points. Gonna be Biz opening it up, followed by Majink doing that damage that we know that they do. Fua, however, finding some value on that minigun, finding it in the sentry mode, and really taking them to town and allowing themselves to have some space.
The very critical thing there is that University of Kansas, despite losing a couple of players, make the decision to just go to the objective, get the shield up, get the Bastion in position. And yes, the supports go down early, but the fact is, as long as Fua can get into that sentry mode and get damage down range, then they're able to reset. Biz gonna now switch over to the Pharah, again pocketed this time, so this is gonna put a lot more strain onto supporting the Bastion as the dive comes in from the Wrecking Ball.
And that's going to force out the immortality field, but they are antied at this point. However, it won't last long enough for them to be taken down. On the flip side, it will be Denizen and Ella doing the damage and getting the eliminations. Forced off of the objective, it's going to be Fua. However, they will not go down just yet. And while they're still trying to get that long-range fight, it allows Kansas to get the point to that first objective, but not quite. 0.22 meters are stopping them from the objective, and they're still fighting for their lives. Ben Crow rules, sending out another turret. It's going to force out the immortality field as they are just jumping around. Majink doing what they can to try and stay alive. The turret will put them to rest. Shinsei jumping into the goop will find their end, and it allows University of Kansas to get their first objective.
That was a really good read, though, from Bren Crow Rules, knowing that you have to win that fight. As soon as the Bastion is forced off the objective, right, it becomes a much weaker target, a much weaker character selection. Its strength lies in the fact that you have to assail the objective while it's moving. So committing to that fight 100% makes sense. You absolutely need to win it to keep control. Now, Lourdes University actually going to mirror out the Bastion here as Biz elects to return to that character. No shields, though, for this one, so Biz is going to have to make work of high ground as Fua has the double shield in their back pocket.
This fight is all going to be backboned by Mango jumping right into the center of the enemies, immediately taking out the immortality field as Shinsei with the blade. The nano blade does damage, but Jinx still causing some havoc, jumping around and hitting him with the Tesla cannon, and that will be a full hard stop on University of Kansas.
Yeah, and here's where you'd like to see Fua get, change away from the Bastion. Maybe play one more fight with the ultimate here, but it's so hard to retake with a Bastion, right? This is very, very difficult. A stationary target, right? You can't move while you're in that sentry mode, at that point now it just becomes more of a risk than anything else as you try and walk in. Primal Rage available, but Magic's get focused down pretty heavily.
Jumps through the enemies and will have to find himself on the backside again, but actually it works out perfectly because they moved up, disregarding the monkey in the back. However, Ella swings in through behind and does manage to take out Biz on the Bastion. Now they have a lot less damage to work with. Mango going in again for the pile driver, drops the mines down and leaves them in a field of hurt. Will be one to fall, or at least it will be the turret. That's a lot less damage. Here comes Shinsei diving in the back again with a nano blade. He does go slice and dice, but it will be Majink who does the majority of the damage and elimination. Shinsei's not done yet. He's looking to find and chase down Fua to stop them from getting back into their spawn.
Just going to be able to escape barely. And you can see what I mean about how difficult it is there, right? Everyone's kind of forced to stay on the high ground. You can't rotate with this composition. And Lourdes University makes it even more difficult with the application of the minefield. And then a brilliant anti-nade from CJ as is chilling in the corner, hiding and saying, come to me.
They're about to walk right through into the turret, but he's got the trigger discipline of a Saint, finding one. Another one's going to be slept, allowing him to change targets, but the focus is there. The focus is real, and they won't be able to escape with their lives. Ben Crow and crew are hit with the anti, but it isn't too nasty to stop them from pushing through as Fua has regained control of the objective, going back to that pirate ship.
That's a fortunate moment indeed. The fact that you only get one off that timing is remarkable for Lourdes University's. Wow, Magic even with the Primal Rage just gets bursted down pretty heavily.
Huge anti coming out of CJ. It's going to give them a chance to try and take things back and get it under control, but CJ is looking to be in a poor position themselves. Magic looking to take the fight to the face of the enemy, but it doesn't seem to be the best scenario. Mango gonna get hit with the stun, and they will still be able to fight here, but Biz, he's gonna actually punch his enemy into the health pack, denying it himself.
And it's going to be, continuing to force the fight here on the objective. Both tanks very low. Respawns are closer for Lourdes University, but look at those health pools.
This is not looking too good for Lourdes if they want to continue contesting. The tanks are there to try and stall, but the defense is looking solid. They're going to put out the minefield from Mango, and they still have enough health to try and go back and fight, but it won't be good because the objective has reached the next location.
University of Kansas just brute forced that one through, right? Just continuous damage onto the entirety of Lourdes University. And again, as the supports were unable to keep them alive, namely off the back of being taken out themselves, then University of Kansas win the war of attrition eventually. Incredibly delayed. Time still relatively okay. 2.5 minutes left here as Mango tries to recontest for the wrecking ball.
They have clearly read Mango's playbook, but they didn't see what Shinsei was building up to do with the Nano Blade. Finds so many, and even brings the team into a clean team kill.
Unfortunately, the Immortality Field can only do so much, and a double-boosted Genji is more than it can really handle there. Both CJ and Hawkwaffle applying the damage amplification to that Dragon Blade to make sure it cuts through. Now, Blizz on the hunt on the backline again. This needs to be, okay, recognized there as the break comes in clear. And it's the front line being taken out meanwhile as the S4 uses this configuration tank.
Liz was actually, that was a pretty sick rollout, hoping to try and get more value, but will be stunned. But they're going to force out the Meteor Strike, but it doesn't actually lead to anything. Liz trying to escape will be taken down before they can find safety, as LA are making their way around the corner and inching further and further until the final objective.
Ella's mechanics here on the Sigma has been fantastic. The just cleanup kills, the understanding of the timing of the hyperspheres, as well as the accretion shielding is remarkable from this Sigma player. So University of Kansas getting a lot of value from this as, well, looks like some technical difficulties. Unfortunate timing here for University of Kansas. As,
the value was too great.
Seems so. Yeah, this is now 1:08 left on the clock, and they will have to reset here before the next engagement. That being said, that's going to be half the adaptation. That is it. I'm so sorry. But
no.
It be that way sometimes.
That is so unfortunate for Denizen to just go back from the loading screen to see that there are 4 players from Lourdes University waiting to just take you out.
And now, I mean, 40 seconds remaining. Yes, Magic the Dance comes through. The likelihood of getting very many resources online here for University of Kansas are pretty low.
Yep. Going from 0 to 100 in time for this last fight. It's doable, but very unlikely. Now they are making their way through this roundabout, and they're trying to get back to the cart to contest, but Shinsei jumping around, causing some damage. Mango as well, swinging from the top rope to just take him down, but there just isn't any chance for University of Kansas to make a move.
Yeah, 7 seconds remaining. You just need to get to the objective here. You can see the switch is coming through. I don't know that'll be in time. Someone does get to the objective, but they're already eliminated, and the minefield is there.
Well,
that's gonna be it.
A valiant effort, Ben Crow. A valiant effort.
Only in Overwatch is that term not. We have to come up with something new than a valiant effort, especially after the last season of the Valiant.
Well, I mean, considering all those players were removed from the game, it could be a valiant effort. Considering they would be removed from the team rather than,
Ooh. Ouch. Ow, 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 ow. I don't like that. University of Kansas, though, I mean, this is progress, right? This is a lot of position gained on the map, right? They got through most of third. So if they can get a coherent defense on first, and I don't use that term as a dig against University of Kansas in any stretch. I literally mean as in they make a composition that makes sense and are able to play around the rotations of the aggression of the opposition. Then they can find a lot of success, right? We saw what happened to them on the offensive side. Sure, they technically lost the first fight, or at least lost the first 2 members of their team in the first fight of this map, but were able to come back because they understood their win condition correctly and were able to put their resources into the correct player. to get that progress gained. So that's what I'm looking for again from University of Kansas if they want a chance to keep this series going.
There were also some great reads against the enemy's tactics, especially whenever Mango would try to do the pile driver behind the squad. Multiple times you would see them get caught out with a stun right away and take a serious amount of damage, forcing them to try and reset or retreat. But now we're seeing Biz get very aggressive, or at least pop up and give us potentially a taste of what they've got in store for us right now. Shinsei just sending out some damage. There is Mango again, and immediately taking that major hit. They're starting to read what this player's trying to do, and now they're coming back in again with a big swing, forcing out some damage. The Immortality Field is going to come out, and it will cause a bunch of players to dive in and take advantage of that use of utility. Now, Lourdes University is trying to make their way through as Bencrow will continue to follow along with the rest of the squad.
Yeah, that is a smart read from Lourdes University. They roll through, they're able to dodge the Bastion long enough, and the damage throughput that comes in is so high that even the Immortality Field cannot allow, allow the defense Neon Sox to get the healing through in time. So now Lourdes University have essentially taken first point. I don't believe there is a recontest available with a composition this slow for the University of Kansas, though Mango likely to be taken out here.
Or maybe not. Biz just sending out some damage from the sidelines, and the amplification matrix comes through. Biz continues to send out the damage, but will just walk into a flurry of damage and find themselves on the business end of Fuwa. They're holding it down. Neon Sox jumping around, trying to contest, healing with all of their might, but it just won't be enough.
Yeah, that is such a hard position to be in if you're the main support for University of Kansas, right? Just as much as you can, try and get value, but everyone's kind of falling around you and they're not able to deal enough damage to deny the opposition their throughput. And so that's going to be the first objective gain. University of Kansas now, they need to get to high ground. They need to get a defensive position. But you can already see Lourdes University playing aggressively, just going to deny any space in, using ultimates to deny University of Kansas the ability to walk out.
Just a piece of pressure, kind of like, oh my god, it's more than that. It's more than fear. It's more than just a utility to keep them back. It will take them out as well.
Walk forward, the Riptire. Walk backward, the Minefield. It's a no-win situation. Literally a rock in a hard place there for University of Kansas. Is this going to be a forward hold from Lourdes University? Look at the damage that's going to come in as they try and get to the objective, and the cart is already the end of second here.
There's no way they're going to pop the Dragon Blade right now, but thankfully they won't require it, as they have gotten so far throughout this second point, or this second stretch, that it was almost uncontested throughout. But finally, University of Kansas is here to say, no, that is not going to happen.
The setup that's ideal there for University of Kansas to catch CJ out alone, and Fuad gets the elimination, which means that there's no real healing. Oh, okay. I mean, Lourdes University are still fighting this. So the amplification matrix is committed, but this fight is over.
Majink is just being annoying from the top rope, trying to keep their attention split, and will finally drop down and then jump away. This is just a bunch of, I guess, anti-sustain, trying to buy time for the rest of their squad to get back into position. Yeah. And they don't really have a full amount of healing, or they're just charging up their own ultimates for this initial fight. Here comes Ella saying that's enough. Brings out the Griffitic Flux and forces out the Primal Rage, and it also will be a forced out Immortality Field. Emma on Death's Door. They will fall as soon as Shinsei jumps through with the Dragon Blade, and combine that with the Primal Rage, and you find yourself the second objective.
Yeah, the slowdown that happens there is that University of Kansas, though they win the fight, they allow the respawns to come in because they never eliminate the players on the high ground. They can't rotate there, and now the staggers are coming in. Look at that, Immortality Field forced, and Neon Sox not far off after. Barely gets out alive, but the cart has already begun its movement through third. And again, there's that yellow box of victory, almost 4 minutes on the clock, as Lourdes University are building. Again, they just have those win conditions established.
You have Biz on the top, waiting to utilize another Riptire, because you know once that's popped, it's going to drop at least one, and it does. It finds Bencrow on top of those minefields, and now he's continuing to send out more explosives. Finds a second, and continues to jump right into the enemy. A point-blank shot into a Wasp. That is going to be even more damage, allowing them to have so much more space.
One fight remaining left on this map as Even still, the Transcendence is online, so this damage may not stick for University of Kansas, and they need this fight to be the one that they win handily. They need every fight from here on out to be perfect. Shinsei down early. That's a start.
Bringing out the rally that will give them an opportunity to try and strike back. Bencro being shot in the back. Does have the multi-core at the ready. Won't be able to use it just yet. Denizen getting hit with the anti, but will have the safety net of the Immortality Field. That won't be there too long, and they're going to have to wait a long time before they have that Life Preserver. Maybe not in the next fight.
Slowly, the fight gets, taken out a little bit. Biz, though, still finds that angle for the mines to come through. Already up to another Rip Tire as Neon Sox tries to use another Amplification Matrix to slow the match down.
There it is. There's no one who's looking to go around that corner, especially not with the Bastion on top of that window. They're slowly just whittling down the time bank that Lourdes University has. Jumping in, it's going to be a Nano Monkey on top of the Riptire. Here it comes, but it's shot out of the sky by Ella. A huge play that saved them from disaster, but they aren't out of the woods just yet. Denizen trying to hold on to their lives and keep Fua in the game. They find the monkey in the back with the Primal Rage, and Fua does put a serious amount of damage, but they're taking some of their own. They need to have those heals on them, and they do. It's 9 stocks. It's keeping them in the game. The minefield does go down for Mango, but it isn't enough. This squad is staying alive.
Yeah, this has been just on the edge of disaster. Every fight, their backs literally against the wall. University of Kansas, though, bend do not break. They still find opportunity in. And curiously, Lourdes University keep committing ultimates to fights that they have no, real position in. You can see Lourdes University are trying to play for this Nano Blade. You can see Magic taking as much damage as they can without going down to farm up CJ's and Nano Boost here.
Biz does find a pick out onto Denizen, and this might be the opportunity they needed. The Amplification Matrix is out. The Gravitic Flux finds Hog in the air, and it also brings down CJ before they could utilize the Nano.
Excellent recovery there. Their main tank goes down, but the University of Kansas comes in to support the remaining members. It's a good combo. The Gravitic Flux and the Amplification Matrix just to stabilize here. That is expensive as they also have to use the rally, but it buys you a little bit more time. And now Lourdes University are in last fight. They just have to survive this Riptire and Nano Blade combination. It's a big ask, but if they do, they'll be in the home stretch of this map.
55 seconds on the clock. Whatever happens in the next few seconds will be key. Here comes the Nano Blade. It looks to find one. The monkey goes down first, but Shinsei finds 4 along with Biz, and that is going to decimate the defense. And in no shot, in such a quick moment, Lourdes University takes it all and wins 3-0.
Blink and you missed that last fight, but credit to University of Kansas for making it as competitive on Junkertown as it was in the end. At the very last moment, all that happens is it's a stack of ultimates that you just simply do not have enough defenses against. As, again, the Riptire, the Nano Boost, and the Dragon Blade all combined just to punch through the defense. Again, though, that's 4 minutes, almost 5 on the clock, that was taken off, and Lourdes University, they could not make any mistakes at all. And for the majority of that third point, they didn't. It just took that one fight to close it all out and give Lourdes University the victory here as they move on. We say farewell to University of Kansas, but they put up, an excellent show on Junkertown.
They definitely felt themselves throughout the end of this final map. And, like you said, they had improved upon themselves throughout this series, not able to secure 1 point on the first map, almost getting to a second one over on Blizzard World, and really taking it all the way to the end here on Junkertown, but just not quite.
Yeah, and you could see just the as we said, University of Kansas, though they do show up in the later stages of this map, it was really all Lourdes all series long, as it just ideal tempo from this squad. They really did not give their opposition any time to breathe, as they take this 3-0 series victory and move on to face up against our #1 seed in this conference.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they're going to bring to the table here going forward into the conference finals. They had done such a great job against the 3rd seed. What are they going to do just 2 rungs on the ladder above to try and make their way into league playoffs? I'm excited to see what else this squad has to offer.
Yeah, and I mean, this is now going to mean that this next match is very interesting, right, in this division, because when you have a team that 3-0s as easily as this, and we have to call it what it is, that was a fairly one-sided game, end map notwithstanding, that how is that going to play up against the first seed, right? How well are they going to match up, and really what's going to go through there? So, really, a lot of interesting questions have now needed to be answered. As that final match for this conference really is going to be a highlight, I think.
Yeah, there were so many. I mean, there were so many highlight moments. I think every single map we saw, there was a great moment where we looked at Lourdes University and thought, wow, what an amazing play. How were they able to pull that one off? And I think it's a subtle play. It's a subtle play. I wouldn't recognize it as one of the most flashy ones, but I think that contest on the second point of Junkertown really speaks to how they were just outplaying University of Kansas.